Welcome back. In the upper chamber of the legislature, the screening of 47 ambassadorial nominees has been put on hold following what the federal lawmakers call irregularities in the nomination process. The Senate suspended the screening following a motion by Senator Joshua Dariye under matters of urgent national importance, alleging the non-inclusion of the names of competent persons from his constituency. After deliberations, the Senate summoned the Minister of Foreign Affairs to appear before its committee to explain the alleged lopsided nomination.
It's barely 2 weeks since the President sent the names of some ambassadorial nominees to the Senate for screening and confirmation. Lawmakers have been picking holes in the nomination process. The latest of such is coming from a senator representing Plateau Central. He's concerned that not a single career diplomat from his state is included in the list.
Following this, there have been a floodgate of complaints of state being omitted, including my dear state, Plateau State. And arising from this, Mr. President, given the important and strategic nature of ambassadors and the fact that due diligence must be given on the criteria to nominate, qualify, eminent Nigerians.
His views were shared by some of his colleagues to believe that the nomination process is faulty.
The most qualified from their own state and have been bypassed in this nomination. And their own case is that there's nothing in their service record to show that they have not been superb in the discharge of their duty. 2 of them, in fact, are already on level 17, and in making the recommendations, many who are junior to them in experience and in status have been elevated above them.
Bayelsa State is completely omitted. A place that produces 40% of the gas and 30% of the oil is not fair.
The Senate President also joined in the condemnation of the nomination process. He then announced the position of the Senate on the matter.
The number of petitions we have received this time is a bit more than usual. I think it's important that the Foreign Affairs Committee quickly invite the Minister and the SGF so that they can explain the processes of how some of these names came about, so that can be done before we even begin to consider the nomination list at all. So the matter is referred to Foreign Affairs Committee. We give them a maximum 1 week to be able to come back with a report on this.
The Senate Committee on Foreign Affairs is expected to meet with the minister and report to the Senate in 1 week. But for now, the screening of the ambassadorial nominees remains on hold.
The menace of kidnapping has caught the eye of the federal government, and security operatives are set to deploy special forces to tackle this problem. The Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Tukur Buratai, confirmed this in Lokoja, the Kogi state capital, when he paid an official visit to Governor Yahaya Bello. He gave the assurance that the government will tackle the situation to enable people to sleep with both eyes closed.
Army Chief is in Lokoja on a working visit at the bidding of the President to assess the security challenges facing Kogi State. He kicks off the meeting by relaying the situation reports he had received.
We've been receiving reports of frequent kidnap incidents around this area. This calls for serious concern, and this should be addressed immediately.
The governor gives a picture of the implications of living in a state that is bordered by so many others.
All states, we gathered almost 10, more than 10 states. And it comes with a lot of changes. Criminals in these various neighboring states found Kogi State as a safe haven because of the terrain. The mountainous nature, the forests all around us, they all hide here.
He is delighted to receive Lieutenant General Borotai's pledge of security support in the next few days.
I want to assure you that we'll very soon deploy a special force here, to operate, to check these criminals. That's why I came with the commander, Amir Kota's garrison. He's getting them ready, and very soon we will get them deployed.
Governor Bello also promises to cooperate with federal authorities using his newly formed Operation Know Your Neighbor policy.
The state government has come up with a policy of Know Your Neighbor, a situation where you must know who your neighbor is and who the visitors are. And any house or building that we kidnappers or armed robbers or hoodlums or cultists, as the case may be, is snapped, such building will come down. And then those neighbors will equally be invited for questioning.
In the meantime, the state is set to deploy vigilante groups across all local governments and solicit the help of local hunters to comb the woods and mountains. With this multi-pronged approach in place, the people of Kogi State and travelers in the region may soon heave a sigh of relief.
And that's all from us in Abuja. Back to you, Ijoma, in Lagos.
Thanks a lot, Yemisi. Over 5,000 internally displaced persons and refugees are now taking refuge in Gayam town in Yobe State, northeast Nigeria. The displaced persons are said to have come in from neighboring Niger Republic and border towns between Nigeria and Niger, following sustained attacks in the communities by Boko Haram terrorists. On our community reports tonight, we bring you an update on the situation in Gayam town.
Now you're talking.
Following the continued onslaught against Boko Haram by the Nigerian military, normalcy is returning to many parts of the troubled northeast of Nigeria. One of the remarkable successes is the flushing of the militants from one of their major strongholds, the Sambisa forest in Borno State. With the heat on them, the militants appear to be seeking refuge and regrouping in the border areas, attacking and displacing the residents of those communities in the process. These are some of the victims of the recent attacks on the border towns. They came in their numbers, most of them women and children from Kanama and Yunusari in Yobe State, Abadam, Damasak and Kareto in Borno State, as well as Bosso and Diffa in neighboring Niger Republic. Currently camped at the Gayam Central Primary School, as well as at the motor park located in the heart of the town, some of the displaced persons narrate their ordeal.
Aka zabe mutum takwas a gaban mu manya-manya a cikin har akwai mai shekara 85 a ciki, tsoho ne kansa duk gaba da furfura. Aka harbe su a gaban mu daya. Aka ce mu tafi mu don an sallame mu. A ƙauye suka kashe mana mutane 19. Muka fita, muka je Boso, a Boso suka koro mu muka biyo. Boko Haram sun harka mana hari. Ina cikin gida, yara na sun gudu sun bani. Ina kuka na fito layi. Wani namiji ya kama ni. Kwanan mu uku aka haida mu da ruwa, a bayan wannan maza Fulani suka haida mu muka haida ruwa. Kwanan mu uku muka zo mu ƙauye. Muka zo bakin tasha, muka samu mota daga bisa ganin gindin mu sai inji kan na lokacin garin.
A team of the National Emergency Management Agency is currently in Gayam town to assess the situation. According to one of the officials, the people are in dire need of help, especially as most of them are observing the Ramadan fast away from their homes.
We're here based on a distress call received from some concerned citizens in Gayam, Yobe State, on the recent attack by Boko Haram in Boso, Difa, Niger Republic, and Kanama Yusufari in Yobe State. The IDPs, the inhabitants of these two places were displaced, so they found their way to Gayam to look for safety. So we're here to assess them as directed by Mr. President through our able lead, Ladi Mohammed Sani Sidi, assess their situation and know the exact number of people displaced.
Besides the inconvenience of coping with life at Ramadan in a strange land, these displaced people are also faced with the challenge of exposure to rain, sandstorms and mosquitoes, making an intervention from the relevant government and non-governmental bodies an urgent one.
Let's take a look at some business news for the day. Here's Emana Amawe.
You first. First Bank.
Hello and welcome to Business News. The Ogun State government is set to tap into the federal government's 90 billion naira loan opportunity as the State House of Assembly has approved Governor Ibikunle Amosun's request to obtain 14.16 billion naira from the support facility. The facility, which spans a 10-year period with single-digit interest rate, is expected to reduce the financial burden of the state and stimulate economic growth. The state lawmakers also frowned at the steady attacks on all pipelines by the Niger Delta Avengers as it's taking a toll on the nation's ailing economy. And the Association of Bureau de Change Operators in Nigeria is asking the central bank to grant it a license to operate as a primary dealer in the FMDQ interbank foreign exchange market. On Business Morning today, the national chairman of the association, Aminu Gwadabe, explained that the inclusion of BDCs will reduce the gap in the exchange rate between the interbank forex market and the parallel market. And the Naira gained 0.71% on the United States dollar on Wednesday at the new interbank FX market, ending the trading day at 282.80 at the spot window. Market sources say foreign exchange inflows into the currency market is improving gradually as confidence firms up in a market that has witnessed no activity in almost a year and a half. The depegging of the Naira by the central bank on Monday this week saw the local unit fall sharply in early trade, but recovering slowly as the regulator sold about $500 million and placed about $3.4 billion FX arrears in the forwards window of 1 to 3 months. We take a moment, and when Business News returns, Real Madrid striker Cristiano Ronaldo comes to the rescue, scores twice as Portugal survives early elimination from the 2016 European Championships. Stay with us.